Welcome back to Ravine Rundown, everybody. This is episode 3, a production of Hanger Pod. I'm with me, Miguel Navarro, and my boy, Sergio Ramos. Serge, how are we feeling for episode 3?
What's up, Miggy? What's up, guys? How we doing? Episode 3 of Ravine Rundown. I'm feeling good, man. How about you? Spring training is here. We see all the new faces. And for you guys, it's going to be a good episode. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
This is honestly the episode that when I told Serge, like, dude, let's do this podcast, and Serge was like, I'm down, I'm in, I'm ready to do this. This was like one of the main topics of discussion I wanted to talk about. I wanted to break down the entire roster. If I'm being honest, the reason it took so long is because, honestly, the Dodgers didn't have their full roster up until about a week, 2 weeks ago. So now that we have our complete roster, we kind of have a better idea of what the season's going to look like, right?
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and let's just talk about it. That's why I'm excited for this episode.
Let's get into it.
Yep. Season preview. This is honestly going to be really fun because we're going to be able to dive into literally everything about the Dodgers, every position, every player, whatever you may think. So we're going to start off the season preview, going position by position, breaking down what the Dodgers are going to look like at each position. And we wanted to start off with the position players. We're going to be starting off with catcher. Serge, give us the honors and tell us what our catching situation's looking like in LA.
So obviously with the catcher, it's our 10-year, $140 million man, Will Smith.
Willie.
He's going to be the primary guy. Again, he's one of the best hitting catchers in the league right now. His defense isn't, what he's known for, but he holds it down. He has a lot of good chemistry with the pitchers on the roster, both the starters and bullpen. And our backup, of course, is going to be Austin Barnes. And the reason why Austin Barnes is still on this roster is because our boy Kirsch is back in Dodger Blue. So as long as Kirsch is in Dodger Blue, Austin Barnes will be in Dodger Blue because that's his personal catcher. He's the second coming of A.J. Ellis for Clayton Kershaw. So that's going to be the catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers this season.
Yeah, I think you pretty much gave a perfect representation of these two guys. Will Smith, miles better than Austin Barnes. But yeah. Austin Barnes still has a role on this team, and that is to catch Clayton Kershaw. And it's pretty much been the same catching situation since 2019. So
pretty much.
Yeah, a lot of longevity with these two guys being our catchers. Yeah, I want to break down Will Smith because I think he had a very, very interesting year last year. Last year, when the Dodgers early on in the year were dealing with all the injuries, like Mookie went down, obviously, and Freddie missed some time, and there was a lot of really question marks at the top of our lineup. Will Smith was batting 2-hole sometimes. And he was
everywhere. He was 2-hole. He was a cleanup. He was the 7-hole. Like, he was kind of like versatile within all the lineup. Like, he was the guy Dave Roberts was like, okay, like we could put you here, here, here.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, he was really plug and play, and he was really solid at the start of the year. And it just seemed like after that All-Star break, something just kind of wasn't clicking in his swing. And if we're being honest, it carried over into October. He had a couple nice moments, and it just wasn't the same Will Smith we were used to seeing.
No, most definitely. It definitely, after the All-Star break, something definitely happened there. Whether I think it was maybe fatigue or, whatever. I don't know if it was an injury. I don't think it was an injury he was dealing with. But it did carry over into the postseason. He wasn't hitting the best. Even Dave Roberts said that. That's kind of why he moved him down to he was close to the 9-hole. I think the 7-hole was the lowest he went.
Yeah.
But I think besides all that, I think Will Smith deserves a lot of credit because last year, there was so many injuries to the Dodgers roster, pitching-wise. I think there was 40-something different guys started last year. So for Will Smith to kind of take all that in and kind of deal with each different picture and kind of figure them out, I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, and I think that's what makes him such a great catcher.
No, that was actually a very great point you brought up right there, Serge. This is a guy that look at the different pitchers he had to deal with last year. It's just such a very versatile staff because of all the injuries we dealt with, and I think Will Smith handled it really well. Defensively, he's never really been a superstar, but last year he was really, really good at cutting down runners. He was probably the best in the game.
His throwing runners out definitely went up percentage-wise.
Yeah. And
also, too, besides the pitcher injury, Austin Barnes was down a lot of the year, even though Kirsch was down a lot of the year. So Will Smith really took the bulk of the whole catching duty, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're looking at for catcher. Will Smith, he's coming off a pretty decent year offensively. I've seen better. And
yes.
You know what's scary about this Dodger lineup, Serge? This is a guy that right now, if you were to construct a lineup, he's probably looking at our 6th or 7th man in the lineup.
Yeah.
He can easily on so many teams be a 3-4 hole type of guy. And I think considering how bad he was towards the second half of the year last year, I expect big things out of Will Smith. I think he's going to have a nice bounce back year. He's going to do a lot of things that he was doing in the first half of the year, and he's going to put together a good 162, which I'm excited for.
I do think so as well. I think he's definitely going to have a comeback year. I think, again, hopefully there's not as many injuries to the pitching rotation and the bullpen this year. And he's coming off a World Series championship.
Right.
He feels refreshed. He feels good going into the new year. So I do expect big things from Will Smith. And I also, again, you can't really expect more from Austin Barnes, but I think having Kirsch back and Austin Barnes, he's obviously going to be in that, play a couple games. So hopefully he could turn around and maybe just get a couple hits here and there. Not expecting much from him, though.
Right. Yeah. And just to throw this out there, everyone get an idea of Will Smith. In the first 80 games of the year last year, he hit 15 home runs, drove in 55, batted 270. Amazing from a catcher. Second half in the year, 48 games, he hit 5 home runs, drove in only 20 runs, and he only batted 206. So way down. And this is a guy that if he puts together even half of how good he was in the first half, he could put together an even better year than he had last year. I'm excited for Will Smith. It's going to be interesting.
Definitely. And he's honestly, realistically, the second best offensive catcher in the league.
Yep.
I mean, even JT Realmuto was ahead of him, but even he had a down year. So if Will Smith really puts together a good, solid season, he might take that number one catcher in MLB.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. This is a guy that's been in the discussions. So, moving along, we knocked out catcher, and you know what's going to be? I just want to make this quick point, Serge. It's going to be so fun doing this because there's really not a lot of question marks. Like we take it at face value and we can talk.
It's going to be really fun to talk about because there's so much talent on this roster. It's like we're talking about the All-Star game, and we're not. We're talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And it's our team, bro. That's what makes it even
better.
Dude,
it's such a great feeling. Like, I have never felt so good coming into the season ever in my life, even though the Dodgers have been great for a long time. But, like, look at this roster. It's just, you can't help but be excited.
Yeah, perfect way to put it. And first base, speaking of talent, we got Mr. Freddie Freeman. I mean, do we even got to talk about it? We know what Freddie brings to the table, and he's our starting first baseman. This is year 4 of Freddie in LA. Serge, any comments?
That's crazy.
I know, crazy to think.
I can't believe that this is year 4 for Freddie Freeman. And Freddie Freeman, man, ever since he's come to LA, fan favorite. He was everything that the doctor ordered. What he was in Atlanta, he brought exactly to Los Angeles. He's been nothing but a workhorse, a glue guy. He's almost. And last year during that World Series and that whole postseason run of him being injured, he was almost like an Iron Man. Like straight Lou Gehrig type stuff, straight Cal Ripken type stuff. Just even though he was injured, he didn't let that affect him in any way. Put the team on his back in the World Series. Homered for the first 4 games. Mind you, this guy had a rib injury and couldn't walk on one leg.
Literally.
And Freddie Freeman, he'll go down as a Dodger legend now, even though he had such a great career with the Braves. But again, it's Freddie Freeman, first ballot Hall of Famer, and yes, this is season 4 of him in LA, and he will be the starting first baseman.
Yeah, and this is a guy, man, that he, like Serge said, left it all out on the field, brought a ring to LA. Yeah. But you know what? I think I want to make a point. I want to kind of take a different approach to Freddie because we know Freddie. We love Freddie, Mr. Consistent. There's nothing prettier than watching Freddie Freeman slap a double to left center field, man. Nothing prettier. But
or he flicks it with his wrist to left field.
Literally, exactly.
That it's so beautiful every time.
He's just got such great back control. But if we're being a little bit more on the real side, and we're kind of taking into his stats, Freddie in last year, his WAR dropped over a point, and
it did.
Offensively, he was all his numbers are pretty much down from 23, and that's saying something because Freddie's year last year was probably like some guys' best years. But you know what? At the end of the day, he's aging. This is already year 4 of a contract. And when he signed this contract, there was a lot of controversy about it because Freddie was already at a pretty old age when he hit free agency. So now with Freddie getting up there in age, his numbers looking down a little bit. And like I said, they're still not horrible at all.
They're just not Freddie Freeman-esque. They're not up to his standards, what we're used to from seeing from Freddie Freeman.
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, no player will ever beat Father Time. And it looks like Freddie's starting to hit that point in his career where numbers are going down. And I think this is going to be an interesting year because his numbers were down last year. We'll see where he's at the end of the year. Is he gonna, kind of slow down, and are his numbers not gonna look as great? Is he gonna miss a little bit more time being up there in age? There's a lot of, although Freddie is Mr. Consistent, age is a question mark for this year, and I'm really interested to see how he can handle that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Again, he is aging. I think last year though, put everything into effect. He had injuries. He was dealing with a lot of family stuff, with his son. So I think that really did take a toll on him. And even that, like everything that he went through, made his World Series MVP so much just better and such a more likable guy. But yes, to your point, you're exactly right. He is aging. He's a first baseman. At the time that we did sign him to the contract, he was a 31-year-old first baseman. Look at Pete Alonso. He's 30, only got a 2-year deal. So it's always a little bit of a concern when a first baseman at that age signs such a long contract, because Freddie Freeman is going to be 37 going to his 38-year-old season at the end of this deal. Now, he's still Freddie Freeman. He's still an amazing hitter. But like you said, he is aging, so we will see how he kind of carries himself this whole year. If he played as many games as he's used to playing, he always wants to be on the field. He's 162. Yeah. But maybe we might see, the 158, 157, give him a couple more off days so that he's ready and to be injury prone for the postseason. So you're definitely right, Miggy. Again, the numbers might start taking a decline, like you said. Nobody beats Father Time. Even the best of players never beat it. So we'll definitely see. It's going to be interesting to see Freddie Freeman towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Before we move on to second base, Serge just made such a great point. Pete Alonso is like around the same age Freddie was when he got a 6-year deal, and Pete's only getting a 2-year deal. So
with an opt-out after the first year.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Freddie was already at an old age, and seeing how tentative teams are to give these first basemen such big contracts, I mean, just shows you, man, like they're probably right. Some of these guys, they have the analytics on age and how they'll develop. But listen, Freddie's still going to put together a great year, and it's going to be nice that he's protected by some of the best players in Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts that we've ever seen in the history of the sport. So I expect him to still put up pretty good numbers. Will they be a little down? Maybe he'll miss a little bit more time throughout the year. Maybe. But you know what? At the end of the day, this is a team that we're playing for October. If Freddie's fully ready to go in October and he turns up the way he did last year, we're fine. Like, we don't need...
we're good. Freddie Freeman, he has so much protection in the lineup. He has no pressure.
Yeah.
And again, he's a 2-time World Series champ, World Series MVP. He's coming into this year, obviously still hungry, but he doesn't have all that pressure on his shoulder anymore. He can just go into this season, be Freddie Freeman, and just play his game.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better, Serge. Moving on to second base now. This is kind of like the one position where we're looking at it and we're like, what are we going to get? The Dodgers.
This one's interesting. This one is interesting.
Yeah, the Dodgers moved on from Gavin Lux in this last offseason, and they go out and they bring in KBO superstar Hye-Seong Kim, and he's slotted right now as their everyday second baseman. The other second baseman I want to bring up is Chris Taylor. He's going to be on this list as well. But I want to start off with Hye-Seong Kim, Serge. What do you think? I have a pretty stern opinion about him, but I want to know what you think.
Yeah, he's a very interesting player. He's, again, one of those scrappy players. I think he's going to be very crafty with the glove. I think he's going to be a great defender. Yep. Dave Roberts in spring training said that he could literally win games on his defense alone. That's how insane he is with the glove. Now, the hit tool, not going to be a lot of power. He's going to be more of a singles, doubles guy. You definitely need guys like that on your team, but he's not going to get you more than 10 to 12 homers. So his main job is to get on base, steal bases, and score. That's going to be Haesung Kim's job. Let everybody else focus on home runs, RBIs. Just get on base either by walks, singles, or I think he's going to be a guy that's going to really play factor into small ball. I think we're going to see a lot of bunts from him. So just go out there, play your game, and just honestly be a good defender. Be what Gavin Lux was supposed to be. Yeah. Just average, a little bit above average bat, but a great defender.
Perfectly said, man. And I really love the point, Serge, that you brought up about bunting. I mean, that's a great asset to have in the MLB, and I feel like it's like a forgotten art in the sport. Like, no one bunts anymore. Hye-Seong Kim's gonna bring that. They play a lot of small ball in those Asian leagues, like in Korea, Japan. So that's interesting. That's gonna be something to look out for in the season with Hye-Seong Kim. And Serge, I really like also the fact that this is glove first, and we saw Gavin Lux play defense. Serge, it was a hard watching a grown man like flick a ball to first base.
He couldn't make a throw.
He couldn't throw the ball.
This is my opinion, but I'm so happy to see Gavin Lux with the Reds. I couldn't know more with the guy. But again, I'm happy. I'm excited. I think he's gonna. I think with having Roki Sasaki and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto, I think that gives him a little bit more familiarity, even though he is from Korea and they're from Japan. But I think there's some familiarity there. Yep. And we've seen the poster already. They're all hyping him up. Kim. So, again, that's my take on him. But what about you, Miggy? What do you think about him?
I think the glove's going to be there. I think all the small ball stuff's going to be there. But I don't know if that bat is going to be everyday player material. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he proves me wrong. But, we're in a league now where pop is the name of the game. Pop is really the name of the game.
You're definitely right on that.
Yeah. And if Hye-Seong Kim's not... we saw with Luis... I think this is a perfect comparison. In October, Luis Arraez, he's not a power hitter at all. When he wasn't hitting, it just felt like he was an automatic out. It really did in that playoff series.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and if Hye-Seong Kim, he's coming over and he's going to have to adapt to a new style of play, new style of pitching, new pitchers he's never faced before. He might get off to a slow
being
start.
in LA with the Dodgers, with all the superstars, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, I think.
Yeah. I think he's gonna want to prove his worth, and he might press a little bit. So I'm gonna give him his time to adapt. I think we all need to be patient with a guy like this.
Yes.
But with that being said, I do see a scenario at a point in the year where the Dodgers say, you know what, we're gonna use your glove off the bench. Maybe Mookie slides over to second, and Kike plays a little more short, or Kike plays a little second. Rojas plays a little more short or second.
Yeah, I think
Edmund
Rojas will definitely.
Yeah. I think there's a world where that happens, and I'm gonna give him his time to adapt, and I think it's right that the Dodgers give him his chance to start. But I think if it hits, the Julys, the August, and his bat's not there, we have the versatility to, move him out of every day. So, Haesung, just go out, be yourself, man. You're a great ball player, and I think if he doesn't put a lot of pressure on himself, you can be a nice 290 guy that you stick in the 9.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Again. If anything, he's going into the season as a starting second baseman. That's no question. He's going to go in there. They're going to give him the chance. But I think if he does start to falter and he's not hitting at all, if he's down to the 200 average, then I think we could definitely see a scenario where either Betts moves to second or, again, we have so much depth. We have Kike, we have Rojas, we have Taylor that could fill in that spot. So, but I think definitely let's give him a chance. Like you said, let's be patient with him. And let's just see what he could do. Again, it's his first season, so go out there and just, like you said, be yourself.
Yep, perfectly said. And moving on, the next second baseman I want to bring up, Chris Taylor. Serge, your favorite player.
Your guy. You love that guy.
I love me.
Look, man. Okay, look. I have so much respect for Chris Taylor. I think what he's been to this organization for the past, it's crazy to say 9 seasons now.
Crazy. Wow.
It's crazy how long he's been with the Dodgers. He's had his moments. He had the single in Game 5 to tie the game in 2017. His 2021 walk-off against the Cardinals in the wild card. Chris Taylor has been one of the staples of this Dodger organization for a very long time. And I will always love Chris. When he got that 4-year, $60 million contract, I was so happy for the guy because he was coming off an amazing year. But the stats don't lie. And even though I have a lot of love for the guy, over the past 3 to 4 years, he hasn't done much at all. He's not even really playing anymore. The only reason why he's there is because, again, he's that backup infielder that if an injury happens or someone needs a day off, he just slots in. But me personally, I don't know how much he has left, honestly. This is most certainly his last year as a Dodger. No question. He's not coming back after this year. But you know what? He might prove me wrong. I love when people prove me wrong. So let's see. Maybe I don't know, somebody gets injured and he goes off and pops off, but if we're being realistic, I don't think he has nothing much. I don't think he's bringing much to the table, but again, it's CT3. I love the guy. Maybe he proves me wrong.
I'm a CT3 lover. I am a CT3 supporter. And
you are a CT3 stan.
The Dodgers right now, we're at a crossroads. We have 5 guys on the bench that you can argue is on the bench with only 4 spots. Let's just name them.
Yep.
Taylor. We got Barnes, we got Kike, and we've got Pages. I feel like I'm missing one more.
And if you're gonna go with the 5, it'd be Outman. But that's
Outman's in the mix.
That's where we're kind of
right.
Who's gonna be the odd man out?
Who's gonna go? That's really the question at the end of the day. And right now, depending on how they look in spring, I think Chris Taylor's the guy. But listen, no one wants that contract in a trade. So either the Dodgers eat the money, or they keep Chris Taylor and they decide to move on from a guy like Miguel Rojas, or
No.
so that might, or Andy Pages starts the year in the minor leagues. Like, there's cuts to be made, and
Yeah.
and I think if it all goes right for everyone else, Chris Taylor's probably the guy to go. But with that being said, he's still on the team, and this is a guy that, man, Serge, how many times has this guy bailed us out? 2017.
Oh yeah, he is one. He's almost the clutchest Dodger, I think, in my opinion, in history is JT.
Yeah.
But Chris Taylor has had his fair share of very clutch moments, and I think for CT, like you said, I think he is gonna make the roster. Again, there's a lot of respect for him. He's been with the organization 9 years, but I think he really needs to have himself a good spring. He needs to show something, whether it's the bat and the glove. I honestly, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the glove. It's the bat. It's the bat that's been killing this guy. It's like he's swinging a pool noodle out there. Like, he can't find the bat on the ball. So if Chris Taylor wants this last roster spot, he's gonna have to really show something in spring.
Yeah, I completely agree, and we're gonna see how things go. And right now, I'm for him getting a chance to prove it in spring, and maybe
I am
a
too.
chance at the start of the year. So I like that. I like where we're at on both of those guys. And moving on to shortstop, Mookie Betts. I mean, just look at this guy's baseball reference page, and you will have the time of your life. And I want you to keep in mind before I read these stats, he did this in 116 games after injury. He had a 4.8 WAR. He hit 19 home runs. He drove in 75. He batted .289. He had an on-base percentage of .372. He slugged .491. And his OPS was .863. And guys, he was doing this playing a position that he wasn't used to last year. And he's going to do it again this year at shortstop. And that's kind of where we're at. Mookie, he's going to hit because he's Mookie Betts. But Serge, is this guy a shortstop? Is this the right call by LA?
Look, man, my opinion, I've never really agreed with Mookie Betts playing short. I agree totally at second base. I think he could play second totally fine. But short is a little bit more demanding. You need to be, again, he came up as an infielder in the minor leagues. The only reason why this guy moved to the outfield was because there was Dustin Pedroia in Boston that was taking up the spot.
Right.
Since moving to right field, and he started playing this in the minor leagues, 6-time Gold Glover. Mookie Betts is such a good right fielder. He showed it in the World Series last year. He showed it in the postseason. He is just a right fielder, and I think, yes, he could do shortstop. It's Mookie Betts. He's so athletic. The guy could do anything. But I don't know. I've never had a good feeling about Mookie Betts as shortstop, as the everyday shortstop. Now, can he play when somebody goes down? Certainly, but I don't know. I guess I've always liked him in right field. Now, he did have a full offseason to get ready. He's starting the spring as a starting shortstop, so he might be a little bit better. But if you're talking to my opinion, I would have Mookie in right still, but we'll see.
I'm in the same boat, and we could cover this briefly because in one of our other episodes we really got into it. I'm also in the same boat, but I'm also I think I've kind of shown optimism for the Dodgers because they always seem to be right and they always seem to figure something out. And honestly, guys, our roster is so talented. We can try stuff like this, and we will be okay. If Mookie Betts in the middle of the season, we just decide, hey, he kind of sucks at shortstop, we'll just move him back to right field, and we can move a few more other guys around, and we'll be completely fine. Our record will not be altered at all. But
and I think, sorry to cut you off there,
no,
but I think that the Dodgers have such talented players that have so much skill that they're able to do this.
Yeah.
Because no other organization is just going to be like, Mookie Betts, go to short.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's exactly, that's the right fielder. But the Dodgers have so much talent and skillful players that they could do this. So, again, like you said, the Dodgers very rarely are wrong. And they always prove that that's the right decision. So, like you said, we're going to roll with Mookie at short. That's the deal.
Yeah. And you know what? He's going to hit so good. Even if he sucks a little at short, we'll be like, He remember that stat at the start of the year when he was struggling, but no one at short he was struggling defensively, but no one cared because he had that stat where it said Mookie Betts leads the MLB in everything.
Yeah,
like literally, Like
Nobody cares.
Yeah,
if you're raking at the plate, nobody cares about your glove.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's gonna figure itself out. Last year, Mookie started in the infield, and we won a World Series, and he was a right fielder when we won that World Series. So it just shows we're okay. Moving on, though, shortstop. I really like this guy being on the team. Miguel Rojas. He's gonna help defensively, most importantly. And last year, when Mookie had to was dealing with that injury, and then he eventually made that transition to right field, Miguel Rojas was swinging the bat really well for the Dodgers.
He was.
I love that he's still on the roster, Serge. What do you think?
No, I love Miggy Rowe. I've loved Miggy Rowe since he saved Kershaw's no hitter. I've loved that guy ever since then. But Miggy Rowe is the mentor almost of the Dodgers. He's that leader. He's that glue guy. He's the chemistry guy. And besides all that, on the field, the man's a wizard with the glove. He's such a good defender. He's so good with the glove. And like you said last year, the bat started picking up. And that's very exciting. And what's good is that, yes, he's going to mentor Mookie Betts, which is crazy saying that Mookie Betts is having a mentor. But that's what it is. Miguel Rojas is better defensively at shortstop than Mookie Betts. But if Rojas could keep up with the bat and play his solid defense, he's a great backup option for if Mookie gets hurt or if they have to move Mookie off a shortstop. Miggy Rowe is perfectly fine being the starting shortstop for the Dodgers.
Yeah, if we have to get to that point, we will, and it's not a bad option to have a guy like Rojas as your backup shortstop. This is a guy that batted 280 last year. Like he smacks,
and that's
around.
All he needs to do.
Yeah,
280 for Rojas is great.
Yep, and I think Hye-Seong Kim, take a note out of what Miguel Rojas did last year. Like if you blend into this lineup, even if you're not putting up the big power numbers, if you're getting on base and slapping hits around the field, we'll love you. So I think that's a perfect comparison right there.
So Miggy, I kind of want to ask something in, just kind of to get your take on it. How do you feel of Mookie Betts and Haesung Kim as the middle infield? How do you think their chemistry is going to work from your take?
So when Gavin Lux and Mookie Betts were the shortstop duo, that was really bad defensively.
Yeah,
I think Hye-Seong Kim will kind of be able to overshadow Mookie's struggles. I think Hye-Seong Kim is that good of a glove that if Mookie struggles, and I think Hye-Seong Kim will kind of pick up the slack because that's just how good he is defensively. So I think it's going to be a lot better than it was with Gavin Lux. So I think also you could argue part of that move was like, hey, Mookie's going to be in the infield. I don't know if it's good to have our middle infield be this bad defensively, and they brought in a super glove man like Kim. So I think it's going to be fun to see how it plays out. What do you think?
No, I think it's going to play out too good. I think that they're going to have good chemistry. And again, like you said, Kim is so good defensively that he honestly could pick up, Mookie stuff if it's not, going. But did any of us think that Haesung Kim would be the starting second baseman for the Dodgers?
I didn't know he existed until we signed him. So
I had no idea until I saw the alert that day. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, he's defensive-wise, I think for that infield, it's going to be great. Yeah. It's going to be a solid defense.
Yeah, and I think that it's good to have that solid defense because you look over, we move along to third base. Max Muncy's our third baseman.
Yeah.
Not a great defender either. But listen,
this
is a guy that mashes. And I love his role in the lineup because although Muncy strikes out so much, it bothers me to my core. I cannot stand watching Max Muncy. When he's at his worst, he's hard to watch. But
it's bad.
Being able to draw walks and the 5-hole after Ohtani and Mookie and Freddie and Will Smith and Teoscar are up. And Max Muncy's there still walking, making you work. Like, there's no easy out when it's Max Muncy. And at the end of the day, he's an automatic 30 home runs. And I think he's as consistent as they come at third base. Although his defense isn't that good, I'm excited that he's back on the team because I just love the at-bats he puts out.
Yeah, no, Max Muncy. Did you even know that this is Max Muncy's 8th season as a Dodger? We got this guy from the A's. They released him. Crazy. And what a turnaround story for him.
But the Dodgers buy other players, right, Serge?
Buy all their players, yeah. Supposedly. We just, toss money to everybody.
Yeah.
But Max Muncy, yes, like you said, when he's off, it's hard. It's, bad. It's either strikeout or popping up everything. But when this guy is on, automatic 30 home runs. He is one of the biggest pop guys in our lineup that provides that for us. And the secret about Max Muncy is he is an on-base machine. He draws walks like nobody else in that lineup does. He has such a good eye at the plate. The walks and the home runs when he's on is so important to this lineup. And like you said, defensively, he's not the greatest. But watching him in the postseason last year, he wasn't half bad. He made some pretty good plays, and he was a rock down there. Like, not much got past him. Didn't have trouble with the arm. And like you said, Max Muncy, again, he's another one of these long Dodgers that's been in the organization for a while.
Yep.
2-time champ. He's another one of these leaders. So, yeah, Max Muncy's going to be our third baseman. And again, when the guy's mashing, I don't really care about the glove.
Yeah, literally. Perfect point. And before we move on to the outfield, this is Max Muncy. You know why I was okay with him in the postseason? Because when it came down to it, he didn't bother me with any mess ups in a big moment. I felt like he made all the routine plays and he did what he had to do. And this is a guy, Serge. He missed so much time last year, Serge. He only played half the games and his WAR was 3. His WAR was 3, only playing half of the games. He had an 852 OPS in 73 games. Like, Max Muncy is still a threat at the plate. And he's also one of those guys that's getting up there in age. But I still expect 30 home runs and an 800 OPS. Like, he's going to bring that. And you know what? From when he first started playing third base to now, he is a lot better defensively.
He is a lot better. Yeah, at first, it was bad. Take that step, he was rocky. Again.
Yeah. He might still, take a step forward. And then he surprises us all. So, good on Muncie. I'm excited for him at third base. And now, Serge, this is where I think it gets fun. I think left field will knock it out because it's pretty obvious who it is. We have a guy that hit 33 home runs last year, drove in about 100, and just signed a new 3-year deal for the Dodgers. Teoscar Hernandez. Love this guy. I'm glad he's back. Serge, any comments about Teo?
Dude, Teo's the guy. Teo is the man. He is one of my favorite Dodgers now. I love Teoscar Hernandez. He had such a good year last year. Huge chemistry guy. And when he's on, the guy is mashing. Now, we don't know if he is going to play left or right. That hasn't been announced yet. He's going to be one of those corners, but let's say right now he's going to go to left.
Yeah.
Last year with the glove wasn't terrible, not the best. He does have a cannon. He could throw out a runner. We saw that in the World Series when he threw out Volpe at home. But Teo, a fan favorite, he's going to go out there. He's going to put up the number. And Teo is my cleanup hitter. I could slot Teo in at the 4-hole, and I am more than happy about that. So, I think Teo on left, whether it's left or right, no problems with that.
Yeah, and Teo, the reason I say left is because he just played it for us last year, and I think he's pretty familiar with it. So I'd slide him. If I was Dave Roberts, I'd have him in left field. But another point about Teo, man, it's just last year he had the best year of his career. He was on a prove me deal, 1-year deal. He wanted to get his contract,
and we buy all the players, prove me deal.
Yeah, prove me deal, and we made that guy a stud, right? So I want to kind of make that a point, though, is when you're having a prove me deal, there's that little extra motivation to ball out. This year he's on that comfortable 3-year deal. Will we get the same Teoscar is the question. I believe so because at the end of the day, this guy is a winner. Like, we saw the way he loves to win. He loves the big moment. Like, it just felt like whenever we needed a big hit last year and Teoscar Hernandez was at the plate, I felt pretty damn confident in our chances. So that it's gonna be fun to see him on the Dodgers for 3 more years. He locked down left. He's gonna lock down the cleanup hole and he's gonna lock down one of the corner outfield spots. We don't even gotta worry because he loves his team. He loves the fans. And he's not gonna let us down. Like, I know he's not gonna let us down.
He loves being a Dodger. That's what he wanted. As soon as the World Series said, he's like, I want to be a Dodger. And it did come out that he had other deals from other teams for more money, and he wanted to be a Dodger, and he's here. So he loves the fans. He loves the city of LA. He loves wearing the Dodger uniform, and I don't expect anything else but another great season from Teo.
Yeah, exactly. And now moving on, center field. This is where I kind of get a little confused with.
This is interesting. This is a little,
Right now we have Tommy Edman and Kike Hernandez slotted as our center fielders, and I think Tommy Edman's the starter. Kike has always kind of built his name off being a utility guy, pinch hitter type guy, spot start here and there type of guy. So I think Tommy Edman, he's our guy in center. But this is what brings me the question, Serge. Going back to Mookie. I think I'd prefer Edman at short instead of center, and I prefer Mookie in the outfield instead of short. So
100%.
I think it just makes more sense. And Tommy Edman's a little guy. He doesn't have a crazy strong arm, and he's our center fielder. Like, it just doesn't feel like he fits the aura a center fielder should have. When I think of a center fielder, I think of those hyper athletic guys. Like, we saw it. Matt Kemp we got to enjoy him for years. He was
Yep.
exactly what a center fielder should look like. Guys like we got Julio Rodriguez and Mike Trout. Like, these guys are athletic. They're big. They have strong arms. And Tommy Edman's kind of the opposite. He's little. He doesn't have a strong arm. He doesn't hit for a lot of power. So, what do you think, Serge?
Yeah, when I found out that Tommy Edman was going to be, they're going to put him in center field, I found it pretty confusing because this is a guy that you played at shortstop the entire postseason, and he balled out. He was so good defensively at shortstop during the postseason. And again, just like you said, I'm way more comfortable with Mookie being in right. But we also got to understand, this is Mookie Betts. He's one of the leaders of this team. And if the guy wants to play the infield, he's going to get that.
He's going to get that up. Yep.
Now, like you said, yes, Tommy Edman isn't the biggest guy, the strongest guy. But I think Tommy Edman will be okay in center. He did play center a little bit. But the guy's really fast. He's really athletic. Yeah. And that's definitely what you need in center field. But again, I feel comfortable. If it was Mickey Rowe and Tommy Edman in short, I would feel that's perfect.
I'm happy.
That's perfect, right? And you keep Mookie in right. But that's obviously not what they're going to go with. I think Tommy Edman could hold it down, but I just think he's a better infielder than an outfielder.
I agree. I mean, it's nothing against Tommy either, because at the end of the day, Tommy's not a natural center fielder, but this is
he's not.
Kind of the situation that he's being put in. So if Tommy Edman sucks in center field, I'm not going to blame Tommy Edman. I'm going to blame Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts, because Mookie Betts is a far better outfielder than Tommy Edman. But Tommy, it's going to be so much fun to get a full year of this guy. And in the playoffs, man, turned it on. NLCS MVP.
Yep.
Like, Tommy, just do your thing this year, man. A full year of Tommy Edman, though, if he hits half as good as he did from the September through October, we're gonna love it, man. If he
Tommy
can go
tanks.
Tommy tanks, bro. 270, give me 15 homers, 20 homers. Like, we're good with that in the 8 or 9 spot in the order. Perfect.
His postseason run got him a 5-year, $75 million extension with the Dodgers.
Love it.
So, yeah, he needs to come out and if he just hits like he was, perfectly fine.
I completely agree. And the other center fielder I want to bring up is, I think we could cover him quick, because if you're a Dodger fan, you know about him. You've heard the name. Kike Hernandez, October legend. For being honest, though, look at the stats. He wasn't really... There was, like, parts of last year when everyone was coming back, and we were like, damn, are we going to DFA Kike? Because that's how bad he was. Like, he just wasn't hitting. He found a way to put glasses on. And the moment he put glasses on, this guy started hitting and being Kike Hernandez
changed everything
again. And I feel like... You know what it feels like, Serge? In 2020, when we won the ring, what did Kike do in 21? Just had a great year in Boston. He was the everyday center fielder. He was batting leadoff for a team that made the championship series.
Balled out in the postseason. That ALDS was incredible.
Insane. And I just feel like if he did it once, he might be able to do it again. I feel like if Kike has a full year of those glasses, he's gonna find a way to put together a really nice year. I think we're at, like I said, Serge, if Haesung Kim's not hitting, you move around, and Mookie's not really playing good defense, you move around. There's a world where Kike Hernandez might get a lot of playing time, and I think he could put together a good year if that scenario ends up coming into fruition. So, what do you think about Kike?
Kike, man, you don't get Kike for the regular season. You get him for October.
Yeah.
This guy, to remind everybody, Kike Hernandez is 8th all-time in postseason home runs. 8th. And there are some legendary names on there. Kike Hernandez shows up in the postseason. And last year, he proved that to the max. We were done in that series against the Padres. And Kike Hernandez brought us back. But yes.
Back to life. The moment that Kike Hernandez got put in that lineup in the playoffs was the moment the shift happened.
Yeah, it changed everything for the Dodgers. And again, Kike, he is the top chemistry guy. I mean, he keeps everybody happy, everybody loose, is really funny. And again, in the regular season, he's that guy. He's that tool that Dave Roberts has in his pocket. He could put anywhere. The guy could play everything. So again, in regular season, he's gonna get his at bats against lefties. He's gonna go out there. Somebody's injured. Somebody needs a day off. He'll start. But Kike Hernandez is October baseball, and that's what we get Kike Hernandez. And I am so happy that we re-signed the guy.
I love him, man. He's perfect. He's perfect for the team.
I need to get a Kike jersey this year, 100%.
I like that. I'll be right there with you, man, waiting in line. So,
yep,
it's gonna be fun. Right field, our last position spot. We got a new guy in Michael Conforto, and we got a young guy that I personally have a lot of faith in Andy Pages. Serge,
yep.
How are we feeling about right field?
Man, Michael Conforto, it's a lot of question marks, man. Again, he was coming off that big shoulder surgery in 2023, and the past 2 years with the Giants hasn't been great. Now, mind you, Oracle Park isn't the best hitter's ballpark, but I mean, we're putting a lot of faith in a guy. Paid him $17 million, by the way. Michael Conforto, $17 million. I think that's a big overpay for him. Now, it's the Dodgers. They always fix people, like we've seen. We've seen with Max Muncy. We've seen with Jason Hayward. All these guys, they revive their careers. But I think we're putting a lot of faith into Michael Conforto when we don't know what he truly is yet. And obviously, he's going to be the starter out there, whether it's left or right. But he's definitely going to have to prove a lot out there. And like you said, if he doesn't work out, we have Andy Pages, who showed glimpses of a lot of good stuff last year, especially in the postseason. So, yeah, that one's a little sketchy to me. But I think Pages can hold it down if Conforto can. But Conforto is really going to have a good spring, and he's really going to have to come into the season proving something.
Yep, and I'm in the boat of right field right now where it's going to be a strong platoon. Conforto, he's a lefty. I don't think he's going to see a lot of lefties throughout the year, and I think that's where a guy like Chris Taylor and Andy Pages and Kike Hernandez, these three righties, they're going to find their playing time in the outfield because of Conforto being a left-handed batter. And Conforto, if we're being honest, like if he can go out and just go bat 250, hit like 16, 17 home runs against righties, like literally,
and hold it down defensively. I think too he needs to be good with the glove.
Yeah, especially with the question marks and with Edmund and Teoscar in the outfield. Our outfield defense doesn't look that good. So if he can be solid, I'm not against this. But I also think that Serge, as much as I hate to say it, we argue about this. I feel like he's taking opportunities away from a certain James Outman. James Outman that I dislike so dearly. But I feel like he deserved one more chance, and I feel like Michael Conforto's limiting him. And I don't know. I feel like that $17 million was not money well spent.
No, and like we've argued in the past, I think that he needs to take over Chris Taylor's spot, even though it's kind of crazy to say. But I think though that James Outman last year in the minors was balling, and I think that I don't want James Outman as the everyday starter, but I think he has that young talent. He has a lot to prove, and he has a high ceiling, and I think that he'd be a great platoon guy.
Yeah.
So, according to you, most likely it's looking like James Outman's going to be the odd man out. We'll see, but I think James Outman deserves one more chance. We gave Gavin Lux 6 seasons of chances. We give this guy one more chance.
I agree.
And again, his 2023 season, he showed a lot of promise. Again, he had that flop in the postseason where he dropped the ball against the D-backs. But I think if we're looking at it, I think James Outman deserves a spot on this roster one way or another. And I would feel more comfortable with, honestly, Outman and Pages holding it down than Conforto.
I agree. And I just feel like we haven't really opened Conforto up with open arms. If Conforto comes in and just balls out, hey, we'll be like, hey, what a great signing. But
again, like I said earlier, prove me wrong.
Yeah,
I would love to see him prove me wrong.
I agree, and I'm excited to see if he does. He is a 20 home run guy, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. DH Serge, let's be honest. We'll talk about this for 2 seconds. We have the greatest baseball player of all time as our DH. We'll be fine in that spot. I mean, that's all I gotta say.
Oh, and he pitches, by the way. He's returning to pitching this year.
So because of that, I love how quickly we can skim over DH because we already know we're getting 40, 50 home runs. We're going to starting pitchers, and now this is where it gets fun. This is where it gets fun. Gets really fun. Serge, instead of going player by player, I kind of want to just go. I want you to give me your 5, and I'll give you my 5 because the Dodgers announced that they're going to go 5-man. And they're going to go 5-man until Shohei's ready to come back. Then they'll go to the 6-man. What does your opening day starting 5 look like?
This rotation is unbelievable, by the way. This might be, if everybody's healthy, this might be the greatest rotation of all time. But to start the year, we're not going to have Shohei and we're not going to have Kersh in there. So I think it's going to be Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Sasaki, Gonsolin.
Okay. So I'm gonna say mine, and then we can kind of compare there.
I know who you're gonna go with.
Our one is Yoshi.
Yeah.
I think he's our best pitcher. Our 2, Snell, Haesung. Our 3 is Glasnow. Our 4 is Roki, and our 5. I'm in the boat of this guy being in the bullpen, but I think he's gonna be our starting 5, Dustin May. That's
I knew you were going to go there.
What was that?
And the only reason I don't have Dustin May over Tony Gonsolin is just Dustin May has never been able to get away from the injury bug. I just don't have confidence that he could be a starter. I'm in your boat. I think he could be a great reliever. I think Tony Gonsolin gives us a better chance at the number 5.
I think so too in terms of like longevity. Dustin May hasn't been able to put together a full year as a starter, and I just think his stuff would fit. His demeanor, it just would fit so good in the bullpen that I'm for him coming out. But I think that there's just been more reports come out about Dustin May than Tony Gonsolin, and that just kind of makes me lean towards Dustin May being the 5th starter instead of Tony Gonsolin. Like, I feel like I've heard more about May, bouncing
Yeah,
back.
no, most definitely.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of in the boat for that. The Dodgers, though, like, kind of breaking it down, Yamamoto, a full year of him, it's going to be so awesome to see.
Dude.
Like, this is a guy
what this guy proved in the postseason last year, man, it's gonna be exciting for a full year if he stays healthy. Yeah, his stuff is so good.
He was kind of taking his time to figure out how good he was at the start of the year, and then he really took off. Then he got really injured, and then there was that question mark: is like, okay, when he comes back, is he gonna be the guy we need him to be? And in October, man, the reason we signed this guy was because he pitched the big games. And he came through every single time, except that first start. He was lights out the rest of October.
Yeah, no, when we first signed Yamamoto, like when I saw 12-year 325, I was like, wow, like this guy's really good. But that might even be an overpay and too many years. But after what he showed last year in the postseason, I completely am behind this guy. And I just hope that he stays healthy. And yeah, to start the year, he'll be our number 1.
I agree. And then going down the list now, I mean, Cy Young, and this guy was lights out in the second half. Now he's a Dodger. He's going to be playing meaningful games all year. He's going to take off. Wait, we don't even got to, bro.
Well, I kind of did want to mention that he did tell Dave Roberts that he wants to be the workhorse of this rotation.
I love
He wants to go out there every 5th day. And we know when Blake Snell puts up more than 180 innings pitched, 2 Cy Youngs. So, watch out for Blake Snell. And like you said, meaningful games. He looks pumped to be a Dodger. Like, he looks... so happy. So Blake Snell, I am expecting a very big year from him.
I think Blake Snell's a winner, and he's going to be in an environment where it's all about winning, and he's going to pitch the big games. Like, we saw this guy in 2020. He wanted to stay in that game.
Game 6. Dude, he was carving us. Yep. To this day, I will never understand why they took that guy out. If Blake Snell would have pitched that whole game, Game 7, and who knows what would happen in that series.
Analytics, Serge.
Analytics.
But moving on, Tyler Glasnow. We know you're going to lead the league in strikeouts if you could just stay healthy for a full year.
His stuff is so disgusting.
So good.
Guy is gross.
So the question mark on him, can he stay healthy?
It's health.
Yeah. And then
it's health.
Roki, what are we going to get? But at the end of the day, his stuff is it's better. It can compete with anyone in the league. That's how good his stuff is.
Dude, his stuff is disgusting.
Yep.
I mean, and I think... And again, pitchers that come to the Dodgers, they are pitching gurus. Dude, he could have came to a better organization to develop his game. And dude, he even said when he signed, he said, I want to win a Cy Young. Bro, this guy is going to ball out. And I think I kind of want to just bring this up because I think this is a big deal. Even though our pitching rotation is so stacked, but the main thing, and it is in today's game of pitchers, it's health and it's injuries. The only thing that scares me about this rotation is injuries, because if 2 or 3 of these guys go down, it's going to be pretty concerning. And the 2 that are injured, Shohei's coming off an injury and Kersh is coming off an injury.
Right.
And so health is the biggest thing. If we can stay healthy, we're good. We're set. If we're injured and 2 or 3 guys go down, it's going to be a little concerning.
Yeah. And I think that the Dodgers have been able to combat that with adding a lot of depth. We have a lot of guys that we haven't even mentioned. Serge brought up Shohei coming back in May, and Kershaw's obviously going to come back at some point. We obviously Gonsolin and May, they're in there. Bobby Miller, Landon Knack, Ben Kasparius. Like, we have the depth.
There's so much depth.
So much depth. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see how the rotation's gonna fill out when Shohei's back. Like is Kershaw? Where's he gonna fit in? Where's May and Gonsolin gonna fit in? Like, at the end of the day, we have 9 starters with 6 spots open, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Once Shohei comes back, they're going to run a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, so 6-man, and let me ask you something, Serge. So, We know our 5 at some point in the year is going to be Glasnow, Snell, Yama, Roki, Shohei.
Yeah.
Now Kersh, like, where's he fit in? May Gonsolin stay? It's all about health. If all these guys stay healthy, the Dodgers are gonna have a big question mark. But you know what? It's baseball. You kind of have to expect some injuries, something to slow this down. There's no way all 9 of these guys stay healthy. So it's gonna be. I would love for everyone to stay healthy, but I also think that avoiding that scenario where there's 9 healthy pitchers and we only have 6 spots, it's gonna be okay. Like I'm okay with avoiding that. And honestly, I think the Dodgers might take full use of the Phantom IL. Like, I think there might be a time in the year where, like, Glasnow, listen, you have not been able to stay healthy all year. How about you just take the month off, buddy? Take 2-3 weeks off. Just build up, like, get ready for October, and let some of these other guys take some of your starts because we just want you healthy for October. Like, I definitely think I see a world where that happens.
No, I think that I want to kind of bring up is that when Kersh comes back, Kersh is going to be in the rotation. That's no question.
They have to let him get.
Yeah, he is a Dodger legend. Now, bringing back to that 6th spot, and I think in spring training we're going to see it. It's a dogfight between Bobby Miller, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May for that last spot. Yep. Those 3 guys are head to head right now. Those guys are enemies. Those guys are not teammates right now. They're fighting for that last spot. And again, it's going to be very interesting. There's going to be guys that are going to be coming up and down. I could see Bobby Miller going up and down from AAA. I can see Tony Gonsolin doing the same thing. I can see Dustin May.
Yep.
And I
can
think
see May bouncing back from the bullpen too.
Yes. And these 3 guys in spring are all against each other. And one of them is going to come out on top. And that's just how it's going to be. So those 3 really, I think those 3 are some of the most important people to watch in Dodger spring training.
I agree. And it's going to be interesting, man. And I want to add one point about Bobby. I like his interviews. I like his. You know what I think he doesn't seem scared. Though we talked about it, Serge. We just want Bobby Miller to grow some and just go out there and compete. And I love the way he.
Bro, just shove. Just
go be
shove.
Bobby Miller.
Go be Bobby Miller.
And I want to finish on this, Serge. I mean, dude, this isn't even fair reading these names in the bullpen.
Oh, my God. It's so disgusting, bro.
So the Dodgers right now, it looks like Kopech, Phillips, and Brusdar, they're not going to be ready to start opening day. But with that being said, I think looking at that, we should have kept Ryan Brazier. Yeah, I mean, but the depth though. Now there's possibilities for May to come out of the bullpen. Ben Kasperi to come out of the bullpen. But the guys that we know for sure will Landon Knack. Guys that we know for sure though that will be there at the start of the year. We know we got Tanner Scott, we got Kirby Yates, we got Blake Trinan, we got Vezina, we got Bonda, and then there's that kind of point where we're like, all right, like what's there? And I think that's where Kasperi is, and Landon Knack, Dustin May. We signed Giovanni Gallegos. He's a former All-Star. We had a guy named Edgardo Henriquez that was on the playoff roster last year. Like, that can still come in. Like, there's names to be thrown around. But the Dodgers bullpen, at its peak, just listen to these 8 names, Serge. Bonda, Vezina, Scott, Yates, Phillips, Gratterall, Kopech, Trinan.
Bro, you're not getting a hit after the 7th inning, bro.
No easy...
Oh, and you're not even mentioning Gratterall. Whoa.
Oh my God, I didn't even say.
Easiest 100 miles an hour I've ever seen somebody throw.
So look, we've already established though we have a lot of names. Serge, what are they going to do when the playoff roster comes to be made and we have too many guys? Like, we have 7 starters and we have 10 relievers, and there's only 14 pitcher spots. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know.
Well, people are going to get left out. But I think for certain, the relievers that are going to be in there, Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan, Banda, Vezina. I think those 4 are a lock.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Because realistically, like, we have like 4 closers. Like,
2.
One of them is unfortunately not going to be on the roster. And that's the thing with the Dodgers right now, is that there's just so much talent. Like, bro, I don't see a minor leaguer coming up this year.
So if I agree with that about the minor leaguer point, and it's I don't know, man. I don't even want to think about a world where we're gonna have to leave guys out that don't deserve to be left out.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Is it bad that we have too many players? Like, is that a bad thing?
Well, it's just I don't think it's a bad thing because you always need depth. And again, we haven't started the season, like you already said. Phillips is not going to be healthy. Kopech's not going to be healthy. So the Dodgers, that was their main objective. We've had depth. We've had a lot of injury issues the past couple years. So their main thing was that. By the way, I just thought about this right now, but the Dodgers signed Eddie Rosario to minor league contract. That's another guy, which is insane. He torched us in 2021 in the NLCS. But he's another depth guy because the Dodgers are all about depth. They understand that in this game, injuries are a big thing. So, yes, do I think maybe some people are going to be left out? Yes, but I also do understand there's going to be a lot of injuries. There's going to be injuries this season. Yeah. That's not. We're not going to get away from that. It's just like Father Time. You're not beating injuries.
We were kind of like preparing for it because
that's exactly what we're doing
last year. But I just listen though. There's that slim percentage of no one getting injured. What do we do then when it's May or June and we have to we can't stick everyone in AAA, man? That's what I've been saying all year. We're gonna have the greatest AAA team of all time. I'm throwing that out there. Greatest AAA.
That's
team
crazy.
But before we finish up, you brought up 4 closers. Do you think the Dodgers will stick to one guy, or do you think it's gonna be kind of a closer by committee kind of thing?
No, it's going to be a closer platoon. I don't think we have a set Mariano Rivera or a Kenley Jansen like we used to have. Again, because there's just so much talent, there's not one guy that's the main guy. So one day it's going to be Kopech, another day it's going to be Yates, another day it's going to be... Now, my opinion, have Tanner Scott close it down. He's honestly, I think, the best in that bullpen. Yep. He's so disgusting.
And he's a lefty. That's what makes it nasty.
He made Shohei Ohtani look like he can't hit a baseball, and that's never happened. Chess move right there.
But yeah, so I to answer my own question, I think I'm a fan of having like a lockdown guy and him being your closer. And I think if I had to pick one guy, I would just choose Kopech just because I felt like Kopech did it last year for the most part.
Really? So over Scott? You'd rather have Scott as a setup guy?
I would rather have Scott as a setup guy just because I feel like Kopech was kind of our guy last year, and I'd let Kopech kind of like... he earned that spot in my opinion.
Makes sense.
Like I said though, the Dodgers are gonna do like you said. Sorry, they're probably gonna go and just do the committee stuff, and we have like 6 or 7 guys that can close games. Like, dude, we're fine.
That bullpen is so gross. I've never seen a more talented bullpen.
Think about how talented our rotation is, Serge, and then having to tell them, listen, guys, all you guys got to do is go 5 innings and we'll win the game. Like, that's insane to think about.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's really good. If you're looking at health, like, we don't have to make our starters go 6-7 innings.
Like Glasnow, a guy that just for whatever reason can't seem to put together a full year.
Like if you put Snell out there 5 innings and then you bring in Vesia and Banda. And then you do Scott Kopech. Man. That's a perfect formula.
Dude, crazy.
May could be a long-time reliever.
That's why I'm excited for that too. That's an opportunity for him.
That's a great point you brought up right there.
Yep, it's gonna be fun. Dodgers. Pretty much what we got. Moral of the episode, Serge. Our team's really damn good, and we're going to win a lot of games this year. I'm excited for the season. Serge, is there anything you want to leave the people with before we wrap up?
No, it's just going to be really exciting season, guys. Like, it's going to be fun. Again, as I've been a Dodger fan my entire life, and I've never been more excited for a season because of how talented our roster is. It's just, like... Every Dodger game is going to be just amazing to watch. Like, just seeing that group of guys go out there and play. Now, we do need to see. There's so much superstars that we need to see how they all mesh together. Last year, it didn't look like a problem when Ohtani came in. But, again, it's just going to be so exciting to see, man. Like, if you're a Dodger fan, there is nothing but excitement in your getting to see. And once spring training started, it was like, wow. Like, it's crazy seeing the pictures.
Yeah. And I think... You made that point about kind of having to mesh everyone. The Dodgers, we have the perfect guys. Like, we got the Rojases. We got the leaders. And I think that's what a lot of other teams lack. The Yankees lacked the leader last year. The
Padres
lack a leader. Dude, the Dodgers have like 6 leaders. So, we're going to be fine. The Dodgers will have no problem adjusting. And, like, we kind of... The only points we were critical about throughout the year is either having too much depth or... We don't feel like this is the best possible situation, like Mookie in the infield. But at the end of the day, man, the Dodgers have the flexibility to play with things like that. And our team's going to be just fine. It was so much fun breaking down the entire roster and kind of adding little things in that about every player. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming out with our season prediction video for like our record, our division.
Very soon.
So Thank you guys for watching. Look out for more videos. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.